Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you're looking at running for president again.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red cake.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump will not become president.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Donald Trump will never, ever be president.
Moderator, but apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to
Let's see, I'm at 42 and you're at 20.
We have a key race alert right now. Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
So, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
Donald Trump, while we project, will win in Kentucky with its 8th electoral vote, in Indiana with its 11th electoral vote, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes, North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio, Idaho, North Carolina.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Together, we will make America great again.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage of the 199, and I'm happy to see all of you here today on this glorious day of liberal meltdowns, because it is out of control right now with all of the stuff we are seeing on social media across the board. These people are broken. And I think the best image that kind of explains everything that we're seeing right now is this image right here. This essentially is Twitter right now. Everyone, magically, everyone is an expert on the stock market. Suddenly, it's amazing how quickly everyone just becomes a expert all of a sudden. Every single person on Twitter knows exactly what's going on. I have no idea what's going on in the stock market because I don't follow it. I'm not going to pretend that I know what's going on, but my God, every single person, especially the same people that had no problem crashing the global economy over the flu, those people are now freaking out because the economy is so important, everyone. The stock market is so important. Protect billionaires' money. Suddenly protecting billionaires' money is the most important thing in the world, correct? All these corporations need to be protected. Holy crap. They are just broken. Broken like hell. And it's so funny to watch it all play out. You know, I tweeted this out. I even got ratioed by Angry Joe. I tweeted this out. The same people that have been crying about every little decision that Trump has made over the last decade are crying again. I don't care. Let Trump cook. And Angry Joe ratios me. Jeremy, it's so fascinating following you through this. As long as it's Daddy Trump that's doing it to your right. Bro, you and I both know if it was anyone else in charge, you'd be screaming bloody murder about it. But Trump-induced recession is a good recession, right? LOL, we know. So I just responded, Joe, you've been crying about Trump as long as we've been interacting on Twitter. You have TDS. It must be frustrating. This is one of the first times Joe responded to me over his TDS. And, I had this guy. You didn't refute his points. You just threw out a tired acronym and proved you're in a cult. And I was like, I don't have to refute anything. He came into my replies crying. I never respond to Joe or your anti-Trump stuff because I don't care. You need me to care about your opinions for some reason. I don't. There's nothing I can say to people like these guys that are going to make them happy because they're looking for me to criticize Trump. Even though I've criticized Trump, they don't ever talk about when I criticize Trump. But now all of a sudden, because they need me to criticize Trump for this particular situation, and I don't, because they will use that, because I'm going to show you a video of where people with TDS are clipping little snippets of other people that are criticizing Trump and using this to build their narrative. It is insane, dude. You don't get to cry about Donald Trump for the last 10 years and then expect me to care right now. I'm sorry. I don't care. Your tears, your worries, your concerns mean absolutely nothing to me if you've been crying about Trump for a decade and now suddenly today is when I'm supposed to care. No, I don't care. And I did it somewhere in these replies. Let me see if I can find it. Let me just go to my replies. Somewhere in these replies, right here. Somebody's like, you care enough to reply. And I'm like, to be fair, I genuinely like and respect Joe. I've told him that in private several times. Do you know who would never say that about me? Joe. Joe would be terrified to tell his audience that he likes and respects me. He would be terrified. He was genuinely blown away when I told him that in a private message. But he's not allowed to say that about me because I'm a Trump supporter. He's not allowed to tell people that he has been friendly with me or anything like that publicly. He's not allowed to do it because his audience will eat him alive. And he's literally terrified of his leftist audience because that's the type of person Joe is in public. That's it. So, anyway, the point being is that these people are broken. And here's the video right here, if I could find it. Had so many videos pulled up. Let me pull this video up in just a minute. Let me see how you guys are doing. Jake the Movie Geek says, finally, where have you been, Jeremy? So much news. There has been a lot of news. East Coast Toasted Boy says, yo, did you see Mince Blitz video about actual Titanfall 3 news? Apex is finally losing popularity, thankfully, by 75%, like Disney stocks. Hopefully this actually goes through. BT, come back. I have been tagged in this Titanfall 3 story more times than I can count. I have not looked into it for multiple reasons. Number one, I don't believe it, and I don't want to believe it. If it happens, that's great, but I don't want to believe it. Number two, I've kind of lost a lot of belief in Respawn that they can actually recreate the magic of Titanfall 1 or 2. I feel like it's probably going to be closer to Apex Legends than it would be actual Titanfall. So we'll see. We'll see. Everybody has told me about this story about Titanfall 2. If it comes true, or Titanfall 3, I'm sorry. If it comes true, that'd be great. But I'm not looking into it, and I'm certainly not getting any of my hopes up. Not going to do it. JMNZZ450. Random racist joke. My last name is White. End of racist joke. Hail the 199. Hail the 199. Let's freaking go. Thank you, JMNZZ450. Mikey Gussler, what's up, Mikey? Jeremy, Angry Joe is seething on X, and he just uploaded a video on YouTube. He acts like he's an expert on tariffs. He's upset that he can't play his board games. He says Trump voters reap what you sow. Yeah, I don't... Listen, man. I've been watching Joe for a long time. And it's funny because the first time me and him got into it on Twitter, I reached out to him privately, and I'm like, hey, man, just want you to know, I have a ton of respect for you. I've been watching you for the longest time, and it's kind of crazy I'm even talking to you after all these years. Joe was so shocked that I spoke to him like a normal person. He was, his response was like, oh my God, I can't believe that you were so cordial and nice to me. I'm like, what the fuck do you expect? Have you ever watched me? Have you done any research? He's built these fantasies in his head of what a Trump supporter is. So when I approached him respectfully and said, hey, I've been watching you for a long time. To me, it's kind of crazy me even talking to you. And then we kind of got into our disagreements, and he was completely floored that I was a normal person talking to him in a respectful way. This is how their minds work. This is it right here. I've had Discord calls with him, everything. But anyway, so he can sit there and puff out his chest and act all big and bad if that's what he wants to do. It really doesn't matter to me. The Grand Duke says, Jeremy used to be a proper grifter. Don't let stuff like sleep stop him from Fortnite. Maybe it's because he's not powered exclusively by Culver's anymore. You never know. You never know. The Blue Oyster says, what's better way to start Monday with my favorite show, CobraCast? After an amazing 1923 ending, I cried so many times. What an amazing series. Hugs. The end of 1923, and I'm not going to add any spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it, absolutely fucking was... That was an amazing episode. I think it was like an hour and a half. Whew. That was some heavy stuff right there, man. Now, I didn't look up any details, so I do apologize if this is a spoiler, but I don't think this is a spoiler. But if you don't want to hear anything even remotely close about post-production on 1923 or anything, give me 20 seconds. That's what I say to the ladies. But I didn't know that this was going to essentially end the series. I expected this to carry over to a season 3 or whatever, and it essentially seems this is the end of the series, which I was kind of disappointed by that. But as you see things play out at the end of 1923, you start to realize, they're paying everything off. They're paying everything off. So anyway, it was awesome. I do have some minor issues with 1923. I'm just going to be honest. There's certain plot lines in that just are like, why are we wasting time on this? And it feels like it's really kind of some virtue signaling bullshit going on in there. But overall, very good series. Very good series. Jared Armstrong says Angry Joe has Stephen A. Smith, is the Stephen A. Smith of reviewers. Again, man, Joe is if you go back, because I've been covering the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, Joe's immediate reaction to the Switch 2 stuff was great. I watched his reaction on it. Joe is good at what he does. He is. But he has TDS. He does. And there's no getting around that. I can't fix it. He can't fix it. Nobody can fix it. Man is struggling with it. And it is what it is. Fun with collecting becomes a new member. Thank you. AJ says, I've been dealing with a wisdom tooth. What a terrible thing. Yeah, that's never fun. That's never fun. Eric K says, everyone becomes the Nancy insider trading Pelosi. Seriously. This is, I know it's a meme, but it's the truth. This is Twitter right now. Everybody is an expert. Every single person is an expert on the stock market right now. Most of these people have never joined the stock market, but everybody's a fucking expert on the stock market. It's the same as there's so much shit going on right now. There's so much. I can't even explain all of the stuff that's going on social media. It's hard for me to keep up with everything because I'm so entrenched in. I've got the video game stuff going on with the Switch 2. I've got the politics stuff. We're covering theme park stuff. I went to Epic Universe last week, or Friday, actually. So that's one reason why I wasn't able to stream on Friday. Obviously, I have IRL stuff going on, too. But, yeah, man. I mean, I've got people that are crying saying, Jeremy. First of all, the narrative was always that Jeremy will never criticize Nintendo. Now I'm criticizing Nintendo. And then people are saying, Jeremy, I can't believe you're going to buy a Switch 2. Mind you, most of these people that are typing that are doing it from a fucking iPhone. You're going to tell me that you're mad at me for getting a Switch 2 because I'm being honest while you're typing from a fucking dog shit Apple iPhone. Get the fuck out of here. Do not stand on a fucking soapbox with me. Take that iPhone and shove it up your ass if you got a problem with me spending my money the way I want to spend my money. Fuck off. I have never, ever subscribed to the idea that you tell another grown-ass man what to do with his money. You do with your money what you want. I do what I want. I am not here to be pulled into a cult of ideas. If you think Nintendo should go fuck themselves, I fully support that. Tell them to go fuck themselves. Just like I think Apple can go fuck themselves. But I see iPhone users telling me, I can't believe you're going to spend money on a Switch 2. Fuck off with your iPhone. I'm not here for your fucking feelings. Not here. Ministry of Wrong Thing says, when I explain to lefties 88% of the market is owned by the mega rich, they start screaming that affects us all. Trump broke them so badly, they now unironically believe in trickle-down economics. I know. It's amazing. By the way, I'm an Android user, by the way. I'm not saying you're wrong for being an Apple user. I'm not. Apple is the most popular smartphone in the world, so I'm not here to tell you wrong. I'm here to tell you if you are holding a fucking iPhone in your hand, do not preach to me about moral superiority about what I spend my money on if you're holding a fucking iPhone. And to be clear, if you're holding a Google device, you don't have much of a leg to stand on either. Those that preach the loudest have the most to hide. That's my point. But I am Team Android all the way. Sensei Pause. What's up? AJ lost me at being angry at gacha games, but the man that plays Magic the Gathering and buys packs, it's the same thing. 100%. 100%. But that's my point about everything is going on right now. Disney fans are really upset at what's going on with Epic Universe right now because Epic Universe is literally just crushing Disney. You've got the Nintendo stuff going on, and you've had people trying to pull Trump into it because when the Nintendo Switch 2 tariffs, when the price came out for the Nintendo Switch 2, a bunch of weirdos tried to blame Trump for the prices. Nintendo today says the U.S. tariffs weren't factored into the $450 price tag of the Switch 2. I was told by very, very reliable gender-confused weirdos that the reason that the Switch 2 was $450 was because of Orange Man Bad. That's what I was told. I was told by people that can't even tell you what gender they are. I was told that they have determined that it's Trump's fault. My God. I mean, we are living in a wild world right now of absolute insanity. Now, we've got this right here from Fox News. President Trump wants a big deal.
Stock market futures are down ahead of this morning's opening bell as President Trump defends his new tariffs.
And as the world reacts, Trump declaring the U.S. will not be making a deal with China unless the trade deficit is solved.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us with more. Peter, it's going to be a busy day.
Yes, and we are not sensing any squishiness on the tariffs from White House officials. They can see the corner of the screen. They know that
What's up with Peter Doocy's lisp all of a sudden? Am I just hearing that? We've heard Peter Doocy a lot. That was a very much lisp. Wow. One more time. What was that, Peter?
Correspondent Peter Doocy joins us with more. Peter, it's going to be a busy day.
Yes, and we are not sensing any squishiness on the tariffs from White House officials. They can see the corner of the screen. They know that market futures are dropping all around the world. But this is going in the bucket of short-term pain that they told us they thought was going to come with something worth it for a bigger long-term benefit.
When they look at the fact that we have $1 billion trade deficit, when you look at the trade deficit that we have with certain countries, way over $1 billion per country. But with China, it's $1 trillion. And we have to solve our trade deficit with China. We have $1 trillion trade deficit with China.
So the big picture argument is still that the U.S. government could be basically bankrupt if businesses have that huge deficit to the benefit of other companies in other countries. And officials are claiming that these other countries are getting the point.
I got a report from the USTR last night that more than 50 countries have reached out to the president to begin a negotiation. But they're doing that because they understand that they bear a lot of the tariff. And so I don't think that you're going to see a big effect on the consumer in the U.S.
Now, a lot of people got mad at me because I criticize little Ben Shapiro. Because people have said, Jeremy, he donated to the Trump campaign. How can you be critical of little Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro has TDS. He's not as bad as somebody like Angry Joe, but he has TDS. He has more of a mild case of TDS, and he's able to cover it up. But Ben Shapiro 100% has TDS. And for all the people that got mad because I criticized Ben, here you go.
Yesterday, President Trump declared that it was, in fact, Liberation Day, his giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally. Trump's reciprocal tariffs impose hundreds of billions of dollars in new taxes on Americans, be the largest tax increase since the Revenue Act of 1968. One of the biggest tax increases on American consumers in the history of America. And it's going to cost American consumers. It will cost American producers who use inputs from other countries. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted immediately more than 1,000 points. The S&P 500 plummeted more than 3%. The NASDAQ plummeted almost 4.5%. There are real-world implications for this sort of stuff. Trade wars are, in fact, not good and not easy to win, particularly if you don't actually have a plan. It is predicated on a bad idea of how international trade works. A fundamental misunderstanding of trade deficits. Trade deficits they're an accounting procedure. Trade deficits have pretty much nothing to do with the health of an economy. I can name you a period in American history where there was a fairly large surplus.
I love that Ben Shapiro is so mad about this. Spokesman for MCU fan. I've seen some people question, where is MCU fan? He has taken a break from destroying this chat. During this break, you are still not allowed to call him a simp nor mention him in super chats. Jeremy will be enforcing these rules. Have a blessed night. Holy crap. The fact that MCU fan has a meme account called Spokesman for MCU fan just shows that amazing legacy that you created, MCU fan. I hope you're doing well. We haven't seen you in a while. That is phenomenal, and this is why the Snake Pit still is the best chat on the internet, and it's not even close. Willie Will! Proper 199 from Willie freaking Will. Holy crap. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well, Willie Will. I'm sorry that I haven't streamed in it's been about 5 days, I think. But we're back, baby. We're back, and Willie Will with a proper 199. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? You know what a proper 199 means. We all know what the proper 199 means. We haven't played this clip in a while. So here we go, right here. We'll do the long version.
Should I do it?
Do not come.
Come on, baby. Come on. I'm going to do it.
Do not come.
I'm going to come. Beautiful white paint. It's coming down at 10,000 miles an hour. It's coming down at levels of speed that nobody ever even conceived of. Where it's rough, but it's coming, and now it's turned around. It turns around, and it's coming, and it's going to, I said, oh, because you see at that bottom, this section right here, that sucker's, oh.
And thank you, Willie Will. I appreciate it. I want to go back to so this is a different clip, I think. This might be a similar one, but there's a little bit more to this one because Ben Shapiro is he's very, very upset, okay? Very upset with President Trump.
The Trump administration hit them with a 17% tariff anyway.
There we go.
Yesterday, Israel announced.
Yeah, this is it. This is why Ben Shapiro was mad. Because Ben Shapiro is Israel first. Yet he lives in America, and he's made all of his millions in America, okay?
Yesterday, Israel announced 0 tariffs on any American goods The Trump administration hit them with a 17% tariff anyway, claiming that they had a 33% tariff rate on American goods, which clearly is not true. Why? Because it turns out that we buy more stuff from the Israelis than the Israelis buy from us. Shocker. They're a smaller country. We're a giant market. Not a giant shock, as it turns out. So this is pretty crazy. I have friends, for example, who import product to the United States and then sell them. Why? Because they can't get the product in the United States. So, for example, I have a friend who's in the jewelry business. And this friend in the jewelry business imports products that are not capable of being manufactured or found in the United States from abroad. So it's not like there's import substitution you can just buy from an American. That's not how it works. This, by the way, this company is an American company. The tariff that is now being applied to all of his imports is like 35, 40%. Those prices will get passed directly on to the consumers if consumption goes down, if investment goes down, because investors are freaked out because they're getting whipsawed like nobody's business. Again, I was talking
jewelry business. You guys are going crazy in the chat
with investors pretty much all day yesterday, given what was going on. And the number one thing that I was hearing from major investors is, I don't know what the hell is going on. That was the number one thing.
So now, good old Netanyahu is he's at the White House today. And look, this is what bothers me about like the pro-Israel versus the anti-Israel argument is so nonsensical. Trump, there's this video of Trump pulling the chair out for Netanyahu, okay? Every time that this clip shows up, everybody's like, it's because he's the real president. Trump is answering to the real president. No, this is what Trump does. Here's video of him doing it for the prime minister of India right here. Like, this is what Trump does. This nonsense that he's only doing it because Israel is in charge of America is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I see it all the time. And every single time that video goes up, I'm like, here we go again. My goodness. So it's absolutely ridiculous. Donald Trump is a leader. Donald Trump, when he's also a negotiator, and when he is working with someone that's willing to work with him, he's going to show them an unbelievable amount of respect. If you don't respect him, he's going to show you an unbelievable amount of disrespect. That is how he's always been. This is how he's always operated. It's how he's always going to operate. This is who he is. Okay? This is not breaking news to anyone. This is who Trump has always been. And the narrative that gets spun is absolutely ridiculous from that perspective. Back to this video right here.
Israeli flag is hanging outside Blair House across the street. Bibi Netanyahu is here. We expect he and President Trump to talk about these tariffs. Even though the U.S. and Israel are the best of friends, Israel still got hit with 17% tariffs on Liberation Day. They tried to minimize the hit to them by reducing tariffs on U.S. imports to Israel to 0%. So we will see later on today at a joint press conference with Trump and Netanyahu whether or not other countries reducing their tariffs on the U.S. actually gets them out of it. Back to you.
Hey, Peter, is it your hunch that the president eventually wants to do a deal, but is pretending to get a better deal, pretending like he doesn't want one? For example, when Vietnam said, let's just zero out everything, he said, yeah, I'll get back to you. And Israel said something very similar. Or do you think the president just is going to hold firm, bring manufacturing back, get the tariff revenue, and let the market do what the market does? Do you know what's going on? Are we trying to get a deal?
It seems like he does want a deal, but not a little deal. He wants a big deal that would guarantee the financial health of the United States government and U.S. companies for generations to come. If they make a deal now, the thought here is it's not going to have the same impact as if you make sure that the whole world knows you are serious and that you will sit by and watch the stock market drop and drop and drop.
He's not going to. People are hoping that he backs off of this, and he's not. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here. I don't operate with stock markets. I've never been about that. So I'm not here to pretend that I'm an expert like everybody is on Twitter all of a sudden and everybody understands, because essentially what these people do is they Google a couple of videos, they YouTube a couple of videos, they Google a couple of articles, they get a few talking points, and they just kind of repeat with their own spin what they found out in the last hour, basically. Or you could just be like me and say, I don't follow this particularly. So what I know is that I voted for a man who said that he was going to tariff the fuck out of all of the countries that are ripping us off. That's what he said in his campaign over and over and over again. Anyone trying to do any spin on this to say that Trump supporters are so upset right now, no, they're not. No Trump supporter is upset. Trump supporters are not upset at all. This is literally what Trump ran on. He kept saying his favorite word, the most beautiful word, was tariff. He said this over and over and over again. So I am going to trust the president of the United States. Now, there was a question in terms of, let me see. Let me go back to Joe's tweet towards me really quick, because what's interesting is right here. So here's my tweet, and then if you go to Joe's tweet, and he says, Jeremy, it's so fascinating following you through this, as long as it's Daddy Trump that's doing it, right? You both you and I know if it was anyone else in charge, you'd be screaming bloody murder about it. So, Joe, we're going to use your argument, okay? Your argument is that if anyone else was doing what Trump was doing, I would be upset. So let's pretend in this hypothetical world that you're correct. Let's pretend that Joe Biden is the president. And Joe Biden said, we are being ripped off by countries, and we have been getting ripped off by countries for decades in trade. We are tired of the United States being ripped off. We're also going to build a wall, and we're going to deport all illegal immigration. We're also going to make America first. We're also going to end endless wars. You think I would be upset if Joe fucking Biden was saying that? No, Joe Biden would never fucking say that. However, Democrats back in the day with Bill Clinton and even a younger Barack Obama and even a Senator Joe Biden actually said most of these things 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's on record. And no one had a problem with it then. But suddenly they have a problem with it now. Isn't that amazing how that works? So no, I wouldn't have a problem if another leader was in this position and was doing the same things that Trump was doing. If someone said, hey, we need to get all illegal immigrants out of this country. Hey, we need to make sure America's first. Hey, we need to make sure America stops getting ripped off. Hey, we need to end wars. Hey, we need to do... No, I wouldn't be upset at all. But it would never happen. That's the point. It would never happen. So there you go. There's your answer. If you're interested, Joe, which you probably won't watch because you're only looking for Twitter points when you want to react to me. I never respond to his tweets. I can't tell you the last time I responded to Joe's tweets because I don't care. He can cry about Trump all day long, but he has to be very upset because he doesn't like that I support Trump. Eric K says, Bondi and Cash need to do something, make some arrests, let the information out. If it's being withheld from them, hold those accountable. I'm pretty sure there was a fake story going around the other day about Cash Patel that got a lot of traction and a lot of people reacted to. Stream Hero says, a while back I used Grok to turn you into a woman, but I never had the chance to ask you what you thought of that or if you wanted to show it on stream. I get memes so much. The only one I remember is the Sydney Sweeney picture that I posted. So I get memes so much I don't even know. I mean, Jesus, look at this right here. Look at this. Look at this. So you had Mighty. Look at this. Damage Sector made me Angry Joe. And then he made me Mighty Keith. He turned me into Mighty Keith. I'm like, bro, stop it. Stop. All right? However, when he made me Mighty Keith, I said, bruh. And he said, would you prefer Angry or Angry Prime? I was like, maybe a little better. God. Oh, boy. It is what it is, though. Woo! Kyle T says, the left wants me to be upset with Trump. All I know is that there is no universe where voting in Kamala Harris would have made anything better. I agree completely. Completely. Earthbound Ian says, I have said this to my dad ever since November 5th. Dad, we truly did break these people. They are broken, 100%. 8 o'clock says, I'm not going to stop buying my Japanese manga, books, or Korean games with big budgets. Trump had to rip this Band-Aid eventually to make America great. I agree. It's going to take time. People are going to be uncomfortable. And that is the necessary process in order to get things done. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Trump is the only person that could do what he's doing right now. He's the only person that has the experience, has the know-how, and has the resolve to actually go through with it and take the heat that comes along with all of this. He's the only one. Black Kane says, I don't have a phone. I'm sending this via 12 raccoons attached to a car battery transmitted through a homemade aluminum foil antenna. I know, like, I've always said this about it. Like I remember when I said that I was not going to see Solo, a Star Wars story, when I was on Geeks and Gamers when I first started making videos over there. And I said back then, people were like, because essentially what had happened was the left-wing Star Wars fans accused me of starting the boycott for Solo. And I had to make a video. I was like, I don't organize boycotts. I don't call for boycotts. I call for people to use their individual decisions to do what they want with their money, what they think is best. And I don't think that they have to answer to me or anyone else, because everybody has their decisions they have to make. Everyone. So I urged the Disney Star Wars fans that were mad at me for not going to see Solo. I urged them to buy 2 tickets to offset me, if that's what they choose to do, because I don't care what you do with your money. And the same applies to anything else. So for anybody trying to tell me that I shouldn't do something, and then I just go, you have an iPhone or an Android. You have some type of smart device that you're typing from right now. You have no moral superiority to stand on telling me or anyone else what to buy and what not to buy. Because once you enter that, then I'm going to have to call you out to go, okay, well, you must get rid of products that I don't like. You must get rid of products that I don't support. It's nonsense. It's a leftist tactic. You are not supposed to make sure that people do exactly as you do. That's a leftist tactic to demand. I demand you do this. Fuck off. That's always the response. It's a leftist tactic. Dio Brando says, I don't even know what you're trying to say there. Was that in reference to Benny Boy, maybe? Timu Obama for $1. Thank you. Jupiter Knight says, hey, Simpy, McSimp, MCU fan, you need to come back. Savvy learns to cook for $1. Schrodinger's chat says, coming to you on my $200 unlocked Android phone on a Mint Mobile account that only cost me $15 a month. Works just fine. Screw Apple. Hail the 199. I am all about that. I don't like, my hatred of Apple has nothing to do with them as a business. It has to do with, I hate their UI. I despise Apple's UI. Look, they're a shitty business. So is Google. So is Samsung. So is Nintendo. So is Microsoft. So is Sony. They're all shitty companies in their own way. That's just the bottom line. They're all shitty. But I just hate Apple's UI. I can't stand it. But so that's my point. Demon Morse Tapeworm says, as a Jew, I'm not surprised Ben has a friend who's a jeweler. I know he's a member of my tribe, but I can't stand Ben. Plus, I didn't get the memo of running the world banks, so I'm poor as hell. Well, I appreciate the support. Dio Brando says, the jewelry business, what? Eric K says, Jeremy always thought the stock market was where he could buy NASCAR labeled food. McCock says, MCU fan is a knee girl. Fig. Yankees fan. There we go. Let's see. Madney says, chances are he won't, but if Trump invades Iran, I will apologize for voting for him for the rest of my life. Also, Angry Toe is a fat from too many dicks. Oh, don't be mean to him. Don't be mean to him. Vault 95 says, Jeremy is gay, sent from my iPhone. Oh, yes. How much I've missed being called gay by 2,000 people. That was the thing I missed the most. I got to say that was the best part of not streaming is like, hey, I didn't get called gay by 2,000 people for a fucking 2 years straight. Olympian Product says, I demand Jeremy not start an OnlyFans. Philip Butler says, I'm old enough to remember John McCain singing Bomb, 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 Iran. Good old John McCain. Dom H with 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. Dom H in the house. All right, let's return back to this. I want to hear what they had to say.
Rob, day after day after day, to get to a better deal, bigger and better deal down the line. Will it work? I don't know, but it does seem like that is the goal, and there is no. It hasn't even been a week since Liberation Day.
Oh, I got to show you this real quick before we continue. This just came in right here. Breaking, the U.S. Supreme Court has sided with President Trump deportations of violent gang members to resume. This may be the largest win for the administration to date. SCOTUS says Trump is justified in using Alien Enemies Act to deport foreign invaders, slapping down rogue activist judges, finally deport them all. So is Angry Joe going to say, Jeremy, if Joe Biden was doing this, would you be cheering? Yes, absolutely. Of course I would be cheering if Joe Biden was deporting illegal immigrants that are criminals. How could I not cheer that? Good Lord. Of course. It's such a ridiculous thing. So if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Barack Obama was doing exactly what Donald Trump was doing, you're telling me I would have a problem with that? Are you fucking kidding me? You've got to be crazy. Mexican Iron Man says today SCOTUS allows Trump to enforce Alien Enemies Act for rapid deportations. Let's deport more migrants. You know what? Hail fearless leader Jeremy. Hail the 199. Yes, just what we're talking about right there. Fennel Floyd says the so-called experts that get everything wrong are freaking out about tariffs, and we're supposed to listen to them. Why? Exactly. And of course, I've got a video to talk about with Jim Kramer here in a minute because he declared that today was going to be Black Monday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here we go.
Your foot off the gas now seems to be the thinking.
Thank you so much, Peter. Interesting that he says, don't take your foot off the gas, because gas prices are down. Oil prices are down. Scott Bessent was talking about that over the weekend. Donald Trump says the U.S. has $7 trillion of committed investments with the auto plants, with chip companies and other types of businesses. And his prediction is the tariffs will bring an additional $1 trillion and companies will be building and manufacturing here in the U.S. He names places like North Carolina, Detroit, and Illinois.
Yeah, and Truth Social moments ago, Trump says oil prices are down, interest rates are down. The slow-moving Fed should cut rates. Food prices are down, there's no inflation, and the long-time abused USA is bringing billions of dollars a week from abusing countries that are on tariffs that are already in place. This despite the fact that the biggest abuser of them all, China, whose markets are crashing, just raised its tariffs by 34% on top of its long-term ridiculously high tariffs, plus not acknowledging my warning.
How can you be upset about this? How can you be upset about this?
For abusing countries not to retaliate. They've made enough for decades, taking advantage of the good old USA. Our past leaders are to blame for allowing this and so much else to happen to our country. Make America great again. It has been less than a week since this happened, but obviously the markets have shown a tremendous reaction. We knew this was going to happen. And, you have to look at this and figure Donald Trump is playing a very high-stakes game, as we were just talking about it a minute ago. We've never seen a politician who's willing to endure this kind of pain in order to get something done.
That is the point right there. This is why Trump is better than everyone, and he can get things done that no one else can get done, because you have to be a next level individual to endure what he is having to endure in order to get where we need to go and get the things done that need to get done. Listen to this one more time.
And, you have to look at this and figure Donald Trump is playing a very high-stakes game, as we were just talking about it a minute ago. We've never seen a politician who's willing to endure this kind of pain in order to get something done, and it makes you think that Trump really probably does want something big.
I think that's why he's
to
doing
get
it
done.
in the beginning of the administration.
But I just look at Bill Ackman, who's a very successful businessman and firmly in Trump's court. He has this long post today, and he says, Mike, the country...
I have to be reminded of this because I feel like Bill Ackman was a very late bloomer to the Trump train in 2024, but I could be wrong about that. But I feel like he was a late bloomer. And this is why I don't really put a lot of stock into the late bloomers of jumping on the MAGA train, because they're so emotionally unstable when it comes to politics that it's like one little thing means they're going to jump off and freak out and lose their minds.
He's 100% behind the president and is fixing the tariff system and helping this country who's been taken advantage of. He goes through all that. So far, in many ways, so good. He said, but when markets begin to crash, new investment stops, consumers stop spending, businesses have no choice but to curtail investment and fire workers. And it's not just the big companies that will suffer. Small and medium-sized businesses and entrepreneurs will experience a greater pain. He wants a pause to it to send a message to cut deals. So that's somebody who's firmly in his court. Elon Musk said, why don't we just zero everything out with Europe? And then, of course, he has a fight with Peter Navarro online. So there's a lot of smart people, many of which are Trump allies, who are getting nervous about all this. Kevin Hassett was taking the fire yesterday. The Treasury Secretary was taking the fire yesterday. Kevin Hassett's going to be with us today because so far the market not happy.
And he said yesterday there are 50 countries that have already contacted the administration to do deals.
I just don't know if the president wants to return their calls. I don't know. So, and they were kind of, Lutnick was a little different from Hassett, a little different from the Treasury Secretary, Bessent. So I just wonder if they should get on the same page.
But of course, the big thing to remember, though, is that this is precisely what Donald Trump said he was going to do, which is always a shock when a politician does that. And it's what he's been saying for literally decades, that this is what needs to be done to save the American economy.
And I'll just bring up this. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you have to just let him do what he's going to do. Give him some time, because he is a businessman. He's a billionaire. He knows what he's doing. And when does America say, we're tired of paying the most? We're tired of paying and paying and paying and doing what every administration has done. When do we say we're standing up for ourselves and we're going to make free and fair trade? If you're charging us this amount, we're going to charge you that amount.
It's great. This is awesome. And he came out with a new word today that describes people that are freaking out over this. So Trump and his words, man. It's so good. Here we go.
Don't be a panickin. President Trump coining a new phrase as he sticks to his guns on tariffs, telling Wall Street and regular folks to be strong, courageous, and patient as their 401ks took a roller coaster in the stock market. The president promising, if you are patient, greatness will be the result.
That's right. Alec Baldwin's finger for a big 50 gifted memberships.
Who the fuck is Alec Baldwin's finger?
Hail ABF. Good to see you, brother. Ministry of Wrong Things says people don't understand. Trump put himself in a win-win. Either countries take off the tariffs or the market sell off leads to mass futures buying. Triggered the Fed to drop interest and inflation. He is a brilliant strategist and businessman. This is what he does. And he is going to put himself and America in the best position possible. This is what he does.
At the same time, President Trump also says that he could be ready to talk and cut deals with over 180 nations that he tariffed, meeting earlier with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his first meeting with a world leader since the tariffs launched.
It can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs, and there can also be negotiations, because there are things that we need beyond tariffs. We're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country, and if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate.
Yeah.
In the United States. It's the only chance our country will have.
Okay, I have missed retards. Trump is going to resign after this, D-Day Cobra. Okay. Okay.
To reset the table. Because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end. Tariffs will make this country very rich.
Team Trump working overtime to tame the tariff beast, with administration officials saying over 50 countries have reached out to make deals.
More than 50 countries have reached out to the president to begin a negotiation.
There doesn't have to be a recession.
Army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them.
Meanwhile, the Democrats busy trying to score some political points, criticizing the president for playing golf as tariffs rocked the stock market.
I saw a tweet. Let me see if I can find this tweet. I know I bookmarked it. And it was essentially like, I don't want to repeat it because I don't want to steal this person's tweet, but I think I can find it here in just a second. And it kind of puts it into perspective, the whole thing. Oh, no, this is what I was saying earlier, though. Right here. So this is another tweet that I want to show you before we continue. Right here, 2006. 2006 Joe Biden.
Folks, we have mortgaged our foreign policy. Everyone's out there going, oh my God, how in God's name? You know, the Chinese came here and the president didn't get anything. Guess what? They own us.
Oh, Joe Biden back in 2006 says China owns us. That's a pretty interesting take right there. That's a pretty interesting take, wouldn't you say? Creepy Joe, even then, I agree with that. Where is this tweet? It's simplistic, but it's like it's just so on point because this is liberals, and we have to be very clear about these people and how broken they are and how much they truly are. Let me see if I'm going to play this clip and I'll keep looking for it about what Trump's doing right now.
Where was Trump when those soldiers were transferred to Dover Air Force Base? Trump was at his resort in Miami, Florida. He was there to hit the links for the Saudi-backed Live golf tournament.
Is the president out on a golf cart while people's retirement is in flames?
He spent the day working on his golf swing.
They're experiencing uncertainty, right? And they see the president off golfing.
Jesse, one of the things I cannot stand is complaints about golf.
Me too. And that's not a middle finger to middle America. That's a middle finger to all these foreign countries who are trying to get on the phone and negotiate these tariffs down. But if Biden was golfing during a stock market like this, I'm sure I wouldn't say a word.
You wouldn't.
I would not. And now I'm not panicking, Dana, because I'm not looking.
Okay.
I haven't looked at my bank account. I'm afraid. But I'm just going to be patient. And my people are going to set me up so when this thing rallies, I can say in your...
Here's the tweet right here. Just so you understand, Trump is trying to get American companies to hire more Americans and pay a living wage while simultaneously ending foreign child labor. And the libs don't like it. This is so... Like, how can you be against that? It's absolutely insane. Like, no, we want more child labor overseas. Like, what is wrong with you? Zanaximus for 50 says the problem with people like Joe is that they don't base their decisions on values. They unknowingly just go with the team that they've been conditioned to believe is right. But then they also project this way of thinking onto others, hypocritical. 100%. And that's why, like, for me, you can never win when you have this tribalistic mentality on the internet. So like I said earlier, you know, like the narrative around me is always that I won't criticize Nintendo. Then I criticize Nintendo heavily, by the way. Not even because I'm personally upset as much as I recognize everybody else is upset. And so I'm trying to go, hey, I recognize everybody else is upset, and I want to highlight the problem that everybody else is having because it's bullshit, and Nintendo needs to deal with it. And then those same people that say I never criticize Nintendo, then they go, well, you're still going to support them. Yeah, because I'm interested in it. I'm saying you don't have to be. You can tell them to go fuck themselves. But the argument changes. So then people will say, Jeremy, you never criticize Trump. And then I criticize Trump. And then those same people are going, well, you still support him. Of course I do. Which is it? I think that a person that is a fan or a supporter and then openly criticizing the thing that they are a supporter of, I think that that is the thing that people are always saying that we don't do. Then when we do it, they shift the goalpost into something else. It's crazy. I am a Trump supporter. It doesn't mean that I think everything he's done is perfect and everything is on point. But this particular situation is one of the primary things that Trump ran on. I have criticized the administration for their handling of the Epstein files. I've criticized some of the behavior from them. I've criticized some of his personnel choices, and I think that those things need to continue to be dealt with. The fact that we still don't have any answers on the Epstein stuff is very much a red flag and a problem that needs to be dealt with. So am I now supposed to go, oh, well, I have a problem with how they've handled the Epstein stuff, and I have to stop supporting Trump altogether now because I have a major issue. And I think it's a major issue. But am I supposed to just stop all my support now because I have one issue? That's how the mindset of people like Angry Joe operate. It's a weird mindset. It's a very weird mindset.
Face, Harold, and it will rally because it always does. Now, Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, broke the Bank of England. That's who I want running this. He'll probably break the Bank of China. And that's what we're trying to do here. This is a 40-year problem, and we've only been at it for 4 days. Take a breath. What Lutnick is saying, American workers are not going to be screwing in little screws to iPhones. He's saying the future is robotics. He's saying the future is AI, automation, and robotics. So you're going to have this massive high-tech manufacturing sector that's going to be building cars, airplanes, data centers, and you're going to need American blue-collar workers to service these robots, build the robots, and maintain them and operate them. If we're going to have ships, if we're going to have new weapons for the next century, that's the game. And if you're saying they're going to pass this tariff onto the customer and they're going to raise prices, okay, maybe. Or we just got 6 million new customers all over the world. So we're going to be making so much money selling these things to India and Asia and Europe that we're not going to have to raise prices. Now, everybody says, oh, you know, we got these flat screen TVs. Got to have our cheap flat screen TVs. Okay. Does the guy really need $50 off a flat screen when his factory left? When he doesn't have a job and fentanyl's pouring into the country? That's the trade-off we're talking about here. Now, here's how I feel about this. Remember in 2022, when they had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth? And that's technically a recession. And the S&P was down 20% for the year. Did anybody panic? Were there any panicking?
Panicking.
No, they said Bidenomics was working. I don't know if it was or not.
Well, obviously not.
We have, right.
A memer out there needs to get the clip from Revenge of the Sith, and they probably need to put Trump on Obi-Wan, and they probably need to put the screaming SJW on Anakin, and Trump needs to say, it's over, Panakin. I have the high ground. Please, somebody do this. All right? I don't even need credit for it. I just need somebody to do that shit, okay? Just need somebody to do it.
And that's the point, because now we have growth in the economy. We have S&P that's only down 14%, massive amounts of private investments pouring in, and we had a massive jobs number to hit in March. So everybody stop panicking.
I feel like, Harold, you got a lot of notes. I'm going to go to you next. Give you the floor.
Wait, first. Mike says the same people who demanded we destroy the economy for 2 years over a flu virus are melting down over a 4-day stock market drop. Where were people like Joe back then? You know what's funny is I think that somebody said this in my replies. I don't know if this is true. Somebody said that Angry Joe blamed Trump for the prices of the Nintendo Switch. And this was before Nintendo's announcement. of them saying that the switch to price has nothing to do with Trump's tariffs. But somebody said Joe blamed Trump for the switch to prices. I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's pretty damn funny. Golden Age says, my sis, for 20, says, my sis tried telling me it's the end of the world. I don't listen because she an unbangable leftist. Latinos for Trump. I voted for all this. There's a lot to unpack here. Okay? So my sis tried telling me it's the end of the world. I don't listen because she's an unbangable leftist. Latino for Trump. I voted for all of this. Whew. There's a lot to unpack there. I respect it. Magnum Norris says, I find it funny that people wanted Trump to disrupt the globalists and also expect the stock market to go up. I know, right? It's crazy. Louis C says, I saw you kiss the drinker. Huh? I don't know what you saw. This is why I don't drink, so I can never be put in a compromised position. I am always in control of my actions. Panicking Skyfaller says, you've turned them against me. Let's see here. Net Stealer says, Jeremy's not gay. He's a Trumper fluid. Vault 95 says, not the rare jewelry imports, the poor rich folk. Ministry of Wrong Things says, it's over, panicking. DB for Life says, so libs ripped mad because Elon and Trump were found where our tax money was wasted on, but are okay with career politicians and bureaucrats using our tax dollars. Retards. This is true. Shorty Short says, Odin's streaming right now, but here's monies. Thank you. I appreciate it. Eric K says, when is Jeremy going to admit Krista runs Geeks and Gamers? I've admitted that for years. Eric K says Joe Biden was making deals. He was getting 10% to sell out America, another 10% for his family. 10% for the big guy. Philip Butler says Cory Booker cast by Disney as Panicking Skywalker. Heartbreak Zero says there's a Chinese proverb that says good medicine tastes bitter. Trump knows that America needs this tariff medicine right now. He's 100% accurate. Solo Felix says Jeremy Kids Drinkers of the chat will call him gay. E2 Freak says, hail the 199, our mage IDOT overlord, Jeremy. Predon Corp says, typing from my iPhone that I am morally superior to you, Jeremy. Absolutely. Again, I got nothing against iPhones outside of the fact that I hate them, but I have nothing against it if you are an iPhone user. I just personally hate Apple. Sith Lord Darth Bong says, Apple is for gays, Android for life. Eye candy. Let's see. Trump with tariffs high and brash, taxed the world, made markets crash, winning. He cried a golden age, a fair trade, war, tale beyond compare. Stream Hero says, I resent you the meme on so I can DM you or if you need it, if you can't find it. My handle is the same here on YouTube. Croc made you better than Sidney Sweeney. I doubt that. Twilight Media Corp says Supreme Court ruled Trump can use the Enemies Act to deport illegals. The winning continues. Hail the 199. Hail.
Good to be back.
It's glad to be back and good to be back around the table and hope everybody had a good weekend. I'd say two things to Jesse. I hope you're right. Two, thus far you don't appear to be right. And I say that for just a couple of objective reasons. First, President Trump and I agree on probably a lot of things. One thing we agreed on over the last 7-8 years is that every day you get a scorecard about how our economy and how consumers and business leaders feel, business people of all sizes, big and small businesses, how they feel about the day, how they feel about what happened that day. And we generally look to our equity markets to get some sense of that. We've lost $7 trillion in 3 trading days. It was down as much as 10 trillion, up a little bit today as I was on with Dana in the morning, and then on the show this morning, and then down as the day went on. Two, we have economists at some of the biggest financial institutions in the country have now raised their recession risk, or she said the risk that the country will be plunged into a recession. And they all think it's because it's a self-inflicted wound. Now let's think about the positive things the president wants to do with what he's doing here. He wants to bring two things, I think, and sometimes it's unclear what the destination is. He sometimes says he wants zero tariffs from all these countries. I saw Mr. Navarro on this morning saying, even if we get zero tariffs, there are other things we want from the countries as well. It's odd to hear that because some of these countries we talk about selling things to, Jesse, they're very small countries. We've suggested that we want to sell more beef to Honduras. Honduras has a $75 billion GDP. If they spent all of their GDP on us, it wouldn't make a dent in what we're doing. Don't get me wrong, I love $75 billion, but when you've lost $7 trillion, it seems to me to be a weird trade-off. I'm not that great at math, but that's not a winning.
I think they want to sell it to Australia more than Honduras.
No, but like,
and it's big, beautiful beef, Harold. Let's get it right.
So, in the reason, so if you
these are the people that are crying, and to be clear, when I say I'm a fan of, I've always appreciated Dave Portnoy. I've always appreciated him. I love what he's done with Barstool Sports. But if you think I'm going to have any sympathy for Dave Portnoy, you're wrong.
I went super viral when I said I lost $7 million. I'd kill to be back to losing $7 million. I haven't even looked. If I had to guess, I'm down in these last 3 days, probably close to 20. I don't know, like 10, 15% of my net worth, poof. But I'm still here. That's the game. Am I crying? Am I like, oh, woe is me. I wish I voted for Kamala. No. Do I wish this didn't go down like this? Yes. Am I in this to make money? Yes.
At least he said, at least he's not backing off and saying he wanted to vote for Kamala. But billionaires have lost a ton of money right now. That's what needs to be understood right now. Billionaires have lost a fuck ton of money in the last few days, all because of Donald Trump. So you have to look at a lot of this anger and you have to wonder, where is this anger coming from? Where is it? We know exactly where it's coming from. And it's not coming from middle America. It's not coming from the lower class. It's not coming from the middle class. It's not even coming from, the above the middle class. It's coming from the billionaires and the hedge fund babies and all of that. That's who's upset. Who gives a fuck what you think?
You want to go there, I'm happy to go there. The reason they don't take our beef and pork, you know what? They don't like the fact that there are hormones in them.
Yeah, that's an excuse. They do it to Europe too.
Okay. Well, these are excuses that have been going on for years. 3, throughout our history as a nation, the first 100 years of the United States, we ran a trade deficit. You know why? Because we were a growing nation. We were a rapidly growing economy. Economies that are growing run trade deficits, not because they don't make things, but because they're consuming so much of the world's resources. The one time in our nation's history where we did not run a deficit was during the Great Depression. Why? Because we weren't a rapidly growing economy at the time. This is just math. Now let's get to the facts. The president wants to produce more things in America. He wants to reduce the trade deficits with countries. And he wants America to be the place where everything is done. In order to do that, you have to build factories, you have to train workers, and you have to ensure that you have fiscal responsibility. The trade tariffs the president's talking about is a small part of it. He has made it the only part of it. Where I said last week that I hope and pray that he knows what he's talking about, thus far, he doesn't seem to know what he's talking about.
Based on what? Based on the immediate reaction? Do you not understand that it's going to take time? Things are going to get bad before they're going to get better. This is part of life. He's an agent of chaos at this point in time. That's what Trump is in terms of the political infrastructure that we have had in this country and throughout the world. Trump is literally an agent of chaos. He is creating chaos within the system in order to change it. When you create chaos within the system, when you disrupt the system, of course it's going to look chaotic for a little while. That's how this works. Just because he's right, and again, we will have to see, ultimately, I believe that he will be right, but let's just say, just because he's right doesn't mean that it's going to be an immediate response. It's not how this works. My God. This is the TikTok mindset of I need immediate results. If I don't have immediate results, and this is why you see so many people that are losing their minds on social media because it's the age of social media. It's the instant reaction, instant gratification. No one knows how to let anything cook anymore. They just need it. I need immediate gratification. I can't wait. I can't let things build. I can't see a bigger picture. I need immediate response. And if I don't get the immediate response, then everything is the worst thing ever. That's what's happening right now. JMNZZ450 says, I was a fan of Joe's when he was having dance battles with that French dude on TGWTG. We could see in real time when he started parroting the opinions of the cult for clout. He's a coward. Don't wish him ill, but have had zero respect for him since 2020. Yeah, I mean, all I know is like when I talked to him in private, it was a very cordial conversation. It was nice back and forth, you know, but it's like he clearly is not interested in understanding where I'm coming from. He's just not. And that was pretty apparent to me. And that sucks, you know, because like I said, man, we can say whatever we want about him, but he is an OG. He's been in the game for a long time on the YouTube side, and he's made a lot of people, you know, happy with his content over the years, and he's pretty iconic from that scene. But yeah, TDS breaks a lot of good people. It really does. Sad but true. John freaking Murdoch for 50 says, holy Hannah, Jeremy, could your streams be more difficult to find? It's almost like it's almost like you don't want my money. I have to wonder who the falling stock market really hurts, not Gen Z or most millennials. They don't have enough money for the stocks. I know, John freaking Murdoch. I obviously, you know, with like IRL stuff going on, and then I had to travel last week for the Epic Universe stuff. So just been super busy, but I'm here. And I'll just say, like, you're welcome to give more money on the streams instead of spreading it out. It's just a suggestion. John freaking Murdoch gives tons of money, though. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man. Peter Yang for 20 says, same leftist screaming, eat the rich, throwing a tantrum for the rich. We now know they never cared for the working man. Absolutely right. Swig of water for the working man. It just shows you the NPC mindset and how they don't actually believe in anything. They don't care about anything. Like before, it was like Trump is just going to make all the billionaires even richer. Literally, Donald Trump right now, as it stands, is making billionaires less rich. Okay? So let's talk about that for a minute, leftists. So Trump is going to make billionaires just richer. He's the president for all the billionaires, okay? The billionaires are losing money like crazy, okay? Right? So now leftists, what happens when you say, oh, well, in the long run, they're going to make more money? Oh, so you mean that Trump's plan is going to work in the long run? Which is it? You can't sit there and say both. You can't do it. It's absolutely crazy. But there we are. You know who is getting richer? Me, because of John freaking Murdoch for a proper 199. Yes, you are here. Look at that. That was a good grift. Give me some credit, okay? That was a good grift. That was a pretty good grift. I gotta be honest. That was good. And don't complain. I didn't stream Friday, bro. I gotta make up for all of the time I missed. Don't complain.
What more do you want from me?
Don't complain. Let the man grift. Okay? Because that's what we do around here. And of course, it is a proper 199. And there's only one way to celebrate the proper 199 with Sydney freaking Sweeney. I was looking at something.
Should I do it?
Do not come.
I'm gonna do it.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I forgot her last name because I was watching Jiggle Physics. I was Sydney I was stuttering. I completely lost track of what I was going to say. American Patriot says vote Rand Paul out of office. He's a rhino traitor. I'm not a fan of Rand Paul personally, just not. Chris Gonzalez says, come on, TARS. Come on, TARS. Interstellar, baby. My favorite movie. Into the 64 says, hail the 199, hail the chat, hail D-Day Cobra. I voted for Trump, and so did my family. I have faith and still do that President Trump will make America great again. Suck it, lib dicks, LFG. Let's freaking go. Packet Proton says that Jeremy is a sexy beast. Better than all the gay comments. Wait a minute. That was a gay comment. Dang it. Let's see. Disinfected Scientist says, I max my 401k and don't care because it's the best for the USA. That's what it's all about. Long-term vision here, baby. Vault 95 says $7 trillion isn't lost. They cashed out and now it's in their pocket. The money isn't actually gone. It's still here. Maxwell DT says, where my breeds at? Grindo Drome says, everyone is upset. All that matters is Jeremy Gay. Here we go.
If this takes 6 months to a year, and we find see the kind of continued stress in our economy and our markets, Jesse, it won't be about whether you're panicking or I'm panicking. It'll be all of our viewers will be panicking because they will see not only that their retirement numbers should their retirement accounts have come down, you'll find young people not being able to find jobs or good paying jobs. You'll see houses not being sold. You'll see grocery prices being too high and people not being able to spend at small businesses. So, Judge, it may be funny, but the reality so far is the numbers don't. If this were a Democrat in office, I say to everyone around this table and people watching, who I love the fact that they watch, if this were a Democrat doing this, we would have a very, very different take on this, and I would be leading that charge. Thus far, this isn't working. I want to give it all the time in the world, but at some point, when it gets to 10 trillion we've lost in the market.
Somebody just told me Patrick Bet David was on Jesse Waters Live, so I just went over. Thank you to whoever said that in the chat. Let's hear what PBD's got to say.
Just take the whole thing off. Let's negotiate. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be painful. But if we can get through the season, everything and the way deals have been done with other countries, it's going to be a whole new standard, which is good for the American people.
Do other countries know that Trump's up against the clock with the midterms so they can wait him out?
Absolutely they do. Of course they do. But you got to realize there's all these leverage cards that you have. Trump is just starting with tariffs right now, going back and forth. If
Right.
China does this, we're
It
going to do
could be
this.
military.
Trump has that's right. Well, there's military is the last resort we want to go to. But Trump has
No, I meant
so
like,
many
protection
directions to go
deals
with.
and armament shipments, that kind of stuff. I'm not saying we
Absolutely right.
nuke Vietnam if they don't do the deal.
Oh. No, but what I would say is I would, if I'm negotiating with Japan, this is what I would say. We've had a military base with you all these years. Guess
Exactly.
what? We owe you $1 trillion. We may need to cut that out. And hey, we're going to pull our military out and don't ask us for protection. All the leverage is on our side. The biggest one that I'm watching.
And that's the most dangerous thing about Donald Trump in this situation is that he has all the leverage, all of it. When you're dealing with the best deal maker of all time, when you're dealing with a person of this stature who also has all of the negotiation power on his side, whew, that's a tough situation to deal with.
Closely is China, and the thing I'm most interested in long term is to see how this negotiation with C.K. Hutchinson and the 2 ports at the Panama Canal, how is that going to be tied in? If they can figure out a way to get all of these deals done together, he may need to write Art of the Deal too, because the way he's doing this negotiation, people are going to want to read it.
Right. You throw the TikTok deal in there with China, you got a pretty big one. And I just wanted to follow up on something because we mocked you for sending my wife a onesie, which I thought was kind of funny because she's young, but you made up for it. Your staff has now sent.
That's an interesting choice of words there, Jesse Waters. Holy crap.
Regina, my daughter, oh my God. We got more than just this. Just let the audience know. They emptied the warehouse. We get the humidors. It's putting the Fox shop to shame. So thank you, and thanks to your great staff.
Let me back this up a little bit. We're going to back
I
this
don't know
up.
how long that's going to take.
I know there's a few people. It's like they don't like PBD and all that. Regardless of how you feel about Patrick Bet-David, he's a smart businessman, and I want to hear his take on all of this. You know what I mean? That's the point behind it. And I have nothing against PBD, by the way.
So do you think he's going about it in the right way by taking on the entire world all at once instead of going at each individual nation? And do you think these deals are going to be cut bilaterally or one big, beautiful deal at Mar-a-Lago?
No, I think he's doing it the right way because you're steering the pot to see who's going to be the first. 50 people are calling us. Vietnam already agreed. Another country already called. There has to be a spirit of
Thank you,
competition
Valkyria
and
Winter, for the
urgency
5
where
gifted over on
everybody's
Rumble.
moving. If he does it methodical, one by one could slow it down. And on top of that, if you don't do it fast now collectively, midterms around the corner, then what happens with midterms? So then that's going to be a bloodbath at midterms if they're not executing this accordingly in a very urgent manner. I think they're doing it the right way. If we're going to do it, the last thing you want to do is one by one, just take the whole thing off. Let's negotiate. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be.
Well, I mean, Trump is putting his entire legacy as president into this right here. That's how serious this is. That's how big of a move this is. He knows that. All of his legacy is tied up into this. If this fails, his presidency and his legacy will be looked upon in a negative way because this is all in. He 100% knows that. And just so we're clear, this is the man that we're talking about. If you guys remember this is who we're talking about right here.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely. And I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
You shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
I love it, man. I love it. So good. Buster Nut Smash says, this all started with participation trophies. All the people bitching right now are the same ones that never suffered repercussions or learned the lessons from losing. Losing builds character. 1,000%. What's that quote from Michael Jordan? You know, how many shots that he missed in his career? You know, how many times he's failed, and that all of his failures are ultimately what made him a winner, you know? And I stand by that completely. Buster Nut Smash says, people will look back on these tariffs as a genius political move. It will suck at first, but will pay off in the end. I agree completely. That's been my stance on it the whole time, is that Trump is going to make this work. He's not putting all of his eggs into a basket that he knows is going to fail. He's a very strategic operator. And I know right now that, like I said, this is essentially Twitter. Everybody on Twitter is a stock market expert right now. All of these people with pronouns in bio and their furry profile pictures, they all are experts right now on the stock market. And I think that I would take the billionaire over the furry weirdo with pronouns in their bio. That's what I think. Let's see. Grindo Drum says everyone is upset. Oh, I got that one. Green Raptor says I wasn't expecting Stuttering Craig on stream. Jay Chain says War Damn Eagle Bammers are they. Andrew CR says I didn't know Jesse Waters was a Muslim. Mike Hill says we'll have to pay $10 for the welcome tour of the Switch. Yeah, I'm not paying that shit. I'm not interested in that. The Under Armour Gamer says all phone users are slightly more sped than Jeremy Prime, the queen of the 199. McCock says, if Jeremy, If Jeremy FAL on PP mouth first, it would take him 10 minutes per inch to get off of it. What? Loud and Proud says, did you know the Federal Reserve isn't actually part of the government? It's a private bank. Let's talk about why America should take charge of its own money. I mean, there's a lot to this. There's a lot of, different angles that we can approach it from. Trump has more irons in the fire than I think we realize. And I think that, if you go back to his first term, it's weird because I don't think Trump could do what he's doing right now without 2020 and what happened. I don't think he had enough political clout. And because he now has enough political clout, once he's able to succeed in this, it's going to open the doors for so many other things that he wants to accomplish. But he's got to get this driven through first. And once it happens, because think back, with Mike Pence as his VP, with that trash administration that he had, there's no way Trump could have pulled this off. Not even close. But here we are. It's a weird way that the Democrats and the liberals and the leftists essentially have brought all of this to the forefront with their devious behavior. Think about that one. Think about it. And I love it. And they deserve it. It's great to see. It's actually fantastic to see. Let's go back to the 5 because Harold said something right here that I thought was interesting. Let's go back to this really quick.
So far as the numbers don't, if this were a Democrat in office, I say to everyone around this table and people watching, who I love the fact that they watch, if this were a Democrat doing this, we would have a very, very different take on this, and I would be leading that charge. Thus far, this...
I never liked that argument. If this was so-and-so doing this, we would look at things differently. A Democrat wouldn't be doing this. It's such a flawed argument you're trying to make. A Democrat would not be trying to do this. A Republican wouldn't be trying to do this. Only Trump is willing to do this. So this argument that if a Democrat, again, it goes back to the Angry Joe comment. If a fucking Democrat was out there saying we need to clean up illegal immigration and get criminals off of our streets and out of our country, you think I'm going to have a problem with that? I'm not going to have a problem with that. If a Democrat says that America needs to be first and we need to stop being ripped off by all of these countries, you think I'm going to have a problem with that? Jeez.
This isn't working. I want to give it all the time in the world, but at some point, when it gets to 10 trillion we've lost in the market and we're trying to make up a few billion in tariffs, someone has to say to the president, this isn't the way to do it, Mr. President.
And I don't think the judge was laughing. She was just going to jump in with a point.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I wasn't trying to be critical.
Well, Harold, no one thinks this is funny. This is very serious.
I wasn't trying to say that, Judge. I wasn't trying to say that at all.
You did say it, but let's be real clear about something, and that is...
I wasn't trying to be critical.
Well, Harold, no one thinks this is funny. This is very serious.
I wasn't trying to say that, Judge. I wasn't trying to say that at all.
You did say it, but let's be real clear about something, and that is that President Trump is doing what presidents have refused to do for the last 40 or 50 years, okay? Donald Trump is fighting for the middleman in this country. He is fighting to make sure that this country has the ability to survive in terms of if there is another catastrophe like COVID, where we don't have to rely on other countries for medication. We don't have to worry about the supply chain. We are in a position where we can take care of ourselves, and our strength is maintained within the United States. Now, all he is doing is demanding that there is fair trade for Americans. I don't want to hear that $29 billion of beef comes from Australia to the United States, and we don't even sell a hamburger to Australia. I don't want to hear that 94% of the shrimp comes from Southeast Asia and Ecuador that doesn't have anywhere near the protections of their food, and then none of our shrimp is going anywhere else. I don't want to hear that American businesses are being blocked by other countries that get the benefit of blocking us and getting our money. So what we need right now is a president who has the strength, the stamina, taking the fight to other countries. We sell 0 cars to Japan. You look out on this street, you've got Mitsubishis, Hondas, Mazdas, Nissans, Subarus. We don't sell cars in the EU. I don't know the last time I saw a Cadillac in the EU, but they've got Mercedes over here and BMWs over here and Volkswagens over here. I'm tired of the inequity, and so is he. And this is about making sure that we get treated fairly. And this idea, how dare he start a trade war? He didn't start the war. They did.
Yes.
And it's time we protected American.
She is cooking.
Industry. It's time we protected Americans' assets. And the consequence in the end is that we will have food that will be safer, it will be American, and we will have industry in this country. And by the way, they're coming to the table. They're willing to go 0 for 0. The EU is. Right now, Israel is dropping tariffs. Right now, he's saying to China, and my money is on President Trump, who got rid of the caliphate that everybody bit their nails about, every Democrat for years. He got rid of the caliphate in 6 weeks, but they said it couldn't be done. He's saying by the 9th, 50% increase. And you know what? The Americans voted for substantial change, and Donald Trump is giving it to them.
It's called The Patience of Greg.
Yes.
Sitting there quietly thinking, writing notes. What do you want to say?
Well, it is a different time than the Depression, Harold. And what's the difference? Cheap labor abroad, just 1 or 2 iterations from slave labor, but we don't see it, so we don't care. We can watch an NBA basketball player talk about the inequalities in our country while he pushes for shoes made by kids in China.
Yeah. LeBron. Hey, LeBron, you out there? Piece of shit. I bet LeBron James has lost a lot of money right now, and I bet LeBron James is very unhappy.
We can't even sell these goods at pawn shops. They're so bad. Have you heard that story?
No.
The crap it's so crappy. They're like, this isn't even American made anymore. Yeah, it is down 3 days. That's a half opinion. Give it time. You elected this guy based on the fact that he's working for you. So why don't you give him the time to work? People who panic at the first sign of uncertainty, they're freaking out at the hard part.
Yes.
But everything in life that is worth doing always has a hard part.
That's what I said.
Doesn't
yes.
matter when. That's the mantra for life. Short-term pain up front almost guarantees long-term benefit and calm after all. But it's easy to be brave during the easy part. It's better to be brave during the hard part. Let's say there's a donut right here, Jesse, a tasty donut, and I want to eat it. Short-term reward, I eat it, and then what do I feel? You'll hear me for the rest of the day. I will hate it.
Yes.
I will go like, why did I eat that donut? But if I don't eat that donut, that means I don't get that short-term pleasure. It's short-term pain. But long-term, I'm slimmer, I'm beautiful, I'm the envy of Harold. So this idea of delayed gratification, short-term pain underlies every single thing you do in life. Exercise, food, relationships, work, and yes, even trade. It's going to hurt a little bit, but it wasn't like Donald Trump didn't tell us that was going to happen. He said it'll get a little bumpy.
He literally campaigned on this. This is what we voted for. This is why he won every swing state. This is why he won the popular vote. He said tariff, his favorite word, the most beautiful word in the English language. He said this over and over again. All of those rallies that I watched with all of you, he referenced tariffs every single time. This is what we voted for, and this is what we're getting.
He's the pilot telling you when we take off, it's going to be a little bumpy. You hate it when your friend screams during that part, so don't scream. Tariffs are
That's so true.
Tariffs are offering that choice. You continue on this path of asymmetrical economic relationships, you're going to get cheap goods. But where are we in a decade? Or even sooner, fewer jobs, fewer manufacturing plants, more dependent on countries who embrace the immorality of slave wages that we wouldn't do here. So the tariff is short-term pain, stock market panic for long-term reward. And when you see a lot of these people panicking, remember that 10% owned 88% of the stock market. Do you think they're panicking? No, they're buying. They're buying. Because I wish I bought during the pandemic, but I keep my money in a sack.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we don't know what we were doing.
You can buy now, Greg.
Yes,
that's
a big sack.
So I guess that's the whole thing is the stock market people are like buy, buy all, going with the NSYNC song, buy. I don't do the stock market, so I know nothing about it. So Lord Botha says tariffs are bad because companies will cut jobs due to higher costs, but raising minimum wage to $20 an hour won't. Leftist economic logic is wild. That it is. Certainly is. Stephen DeLeon says, 1923 was good. Love the story, and Spencer going in guns blazing was worth the wait. The native storyline was garbage. Wish the story didn't end. I rule. I agree with everything you said, except that you rule, because you do not rule, Stephen DeLeon. No, in all seriousness, yeah, 1923 was really good, and whatever the guy's name that played Spencer is, that guy should be a fucking star in Hollywood. He is a really good actor and a badass, and he should be in more action movies and things like that. And yeah, but overall, it was a good payoff for sure. It did drag the season. Season 2 drug a lot, but the payoff was fantastic. And yes, Harrison Ford actually acted Zero. I agree with that. He actually did. Harrison Ford actually brought it. You could actually tell like Harrison Ford actually enjoyed being in this role. Aldo says, what do people expect? That you can fix something with a stroke of a pen after decades of neglect? Easy to complain, but putting courage where their mouth is where the rubber meets the road. 100%. That's the bottom line on it for sure. Solo Felix says, LeBum is still on the first page of Malcolm X's book. Vault 95 says, many people consider the sting of a short-term investment to be so painful they decline to invest. Trump isn't one of them. What matters are returns. Gold Standard says, 6-time bankrupt champ. Trump is his business skill is genius. What? Can you... Like, I saw you were spamming this in the chat, and then you actually had to pay $5. I love that shit. Sometimes I won't acknowledge someone that is a hater because I want to force them to spend their last $5. So Gold Standard, you had to spend your last $5 for me to acknowledge you. A fucking retard like me is acknowledging you, and that's the best part of your day. Holy shit. I'm sorry that you spent your last $5. In fact, since you spent your last $5, I'll gift the chat 10 gifted memberships in your name, since we know that you can't afford it. So let's gift 10 memberships. Let me open up this. This is for Gold Standard being a loser. I wanna definitely help out Gold Standard if we can here. So let's open this up. Where's my stream at? Poor guy. Like, it's his last $5, you know? So we don't want you to go broke or anything. So membership gifting, here's 10 gifted memberships for Gold Standard. Boom, there we go. And Gold Standard for 10 gifted memberships. And then we got Raider with a 5263. Let's freaking go. And Raider with 10 gifted memberships. Gold Standard. You got a lot, man. You got a lot going on in this chat. We appreciate it, man. So let's go back to Gold Standard's comments. It's his last $5, guys. So we want to appreciate. Act Natural said he paid to not be ignored. What a fucking loser. All right. 6-time bankrupt champ. Trump is his business skill is genius. What? 6-time bankrupt champ. Trump is his business skill is genius. Fuck. Gold Standard. Just a quick question, and then we'll move on from you. But if your parents got a divorce, would they still be brother and sister? That's all I want to know. Does it actually, like, do they remain brother and sister after the divorce? How does that work? Let me know. But you got to send another super chat before I'm going to acknowledge it, okay? Thank you, Raider, for the 5263. Stephen DeLeon says Gold Standard is gay. Grant Potato says, if only Trump wrote a book about what he's doing. If only it happened. If only it happened. Maybe one day he'll do that. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Stephen DeLeon says gold standard loves getting hit from the back. Good Lord. Eric John Pizza Artist says, is it possible that Trump's love of tariffs is all part of posturing? For instance, for the negotiations to work, these countries need to believe that the tariffs aren't going away. 100%. It's all part of the art of the deal. Absolutely. And they believe it. They 100% believe it. Sex Conquer says, can Trump and Nintendo make a deal? Let's MAGA make affordable games again. Yeah, I don't think they're interested in working with him on that. Zenny Biscuit says, we were coming in for a rough landing either way this year. With Kamala, we would have crashed and burned. With Trump, we'll get some bumps, bruises, and cuts, but we'll make it out alive. 100%. Enoch says, as you said, a lot to unpack. If I had a sister, no matter how fell out with her, I don't think I would ever reference her with regards to bangability. That's a bit out there. Yeah, I was a little confused on that one, but I respect it. True Mr. Gentleman says, in disagreements, I gave Ben the benefit of the doubt, but watching him earlier disgusted me. Meanwhile, I give Tim credit. He stood his ground and has pointed out Trump coming out on top all weekend. Rand Paul is not a rhino. He simply knows economic history in the long-term use of tariffs. Always ends up badly, but Trump is using this for deals, not long-term protectivism. Enoch says, yeah, 2023, you probably mean 1923. Season 2 did drag a bit, but the finale made up for it. I think it is setting up for a pretext for the next season, setting up the stage for the Dutton grandson laying claim to the British throne. Johnny the Whiskins says the Hodge twins are putting Cash and Don Bongino on blast for promoting this guy, Steve Jensen, that went after parents protesting schools of J6ers. Should we be concerned? Should Trump look into this? From what I know, that was a fake news story. I haven't seen any follow-up on it, but I'm pretty sure that's a fake news story. Bronsonite says, long time no rant. Sup, my Bama brudda. LFG Orange Man World Conquer Phase 1 cometh, sell high, buy low. DEI leftist math can't or doesn't compute tariffs. No, they don't. No, they don't. Great Tank says, took my kid to Minecraft Sunday. It was good. Slightly gay action scenes, and Jason Momoa's outfit was trash. Wardrobe for it are losers. Yeah, there was that was a really weird scene between him and Jack Black, that flying scene. And like I said, I went and saw Minecraft. It was it's not made for me, but it's made for somebody. And those somebodies are liking that movie. So who am I to tell them that they can't enjoy what they're enjoying? So I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to hate it, but I certainly didn't like it. So, you know, it is what it is. Look at this from 1995. 1995.
As an example, I couldn't believe this last auto deal as an example. Here we are, we're sitting there. It's restricted in Japan. Everything's restricted. We're sitting, they can't come in. And all of a sudden, this country folds. We do the old fold now. I've never seen it.
That isn't the way the press reported it. Well, the press reported it that we had a deal.
And then all of a sudden it turned out that the deal turned out that it was not a good deal for us. And we had all the cards. I mean, it's not like we didn't have the cards. It's like, keep your cars out of here until you open up. That's all. Keep your cars out. And then the first hour was like, oh, we made this wonderful deal. After about 15 seconds after that, people realized we got duped. I just don't understand it.
What's wrong with us? I mean, I guess they said, well, this would hurt American car dealers.
You know, what's wrong with us? I don't know. They're afraid politically to make a little bit of a tough stand. That wasn't even a tough one. That was a no-brainer. You would have had the Japanese cars out for 19 and a half seconds, and you would have won every single point. It's the most incredible failure in negotiation that I've seen. But it happens all the time. I just don't understand it. So I would take a much harder stand. I'd take a much more difficult stand, I would say. Make a couple of enemies. I think I'd make a lot of friends, ultimately.
If the United States government took a firmer stand with foreign countries, would we be better off, or are we so much now a part of the nation of the community of nations that we can't really afford to offend anybody?
I think we'd be better off, and I think we'd be far more respected. I think the Japanese would respect us far more than they do. I don't think they have any respect for us, and they shouldn't have any respect for us, because we are idiots when it comes to what's happening. I mean, look at dealing with Japan. I mean, just take a look at what's going on. I mean, they make hundreds of billions of dollars a year, and we lose money in deficits. and nothing happens. And they say, no, the Japanese are learning and they're starting to open up. In the meantime, every second goes by, we're losing. I just think that people would have far greater respect for this country if we took a much tougher stand. It's really quite pathetic.
And on that note, as we're saying that, you have this right here, if I can find it, right here. Countries from all over the world are talking to us. Tough but fair parameters are being set. Spoke to the Japanese Prime Minister this morning. He is sending a top team to negotiate. They have treated the U.S. very poorly on trade. They don't take our cars, but we take millions of theirs. And guess who's ready to negotiate? Japanese. The Japan Prime Minister and the Japanese people are ready to negotiate. The art of the deal. This man is unstoppable. Absolutely fantastic. Do you know what else is fantastic? Is we're feeling the Trump effect all over the place. Here you have Byron Donalds, who says, I'm running for governor of Florida, walks right up to a left wing screaming he's a fascist and emerges victorious. Quote, I'm going to be your governor. Trust me. Oh, yes, I am.
Hang on, I'm sorry, ma'am. But as a member of Congress, because I was just in D.C. on Monday for Trans-State Visibility, and I would like you, as a member of Congress, to rise up and support LGBTQ plus youth and stop this fucking insane attack on our children who know who they are.
Number one,
no. Of course you're not, because you're a fascist. You're a trace. You're a race traitor and you're a fascist.
I said I don't agree, and then you start yelling at me. You call me a fascist. You call me a race traitor, and you want me to agree with you? What are you talking about, ma'am? I'm a constitutionalist. Ma'am, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in freedom and liberty for everybody. I believe in the U.S. Constitution.
It's amazing how she won't let a black man speak. She's using her white supremacy to not let a black man speak right now, which is very, very, very disrespectful. I thought racism needed to end, and yet here is this white privileged individual not allowing a black man to speak because of her white supremacy.
I believe in everybody's freedoms and rights. But if I don't agree, look, hold on. But when I don't agree with you, then all of a sudden I'm a fascist. That's what's wrong. If all you want to do is yell and scream and curse when I don't agree with you, I'm sorry, ma'am. You are now in the 20% of America.
You don't need to because you will never get my vote, and you don't live here.
I'm going to be your governor. Trust me.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Look at Benny there. Benny's just eating it up.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am.
Good Lord, man. These people are broken. Absolutely broken. This is insane. Holy crap, man. You know who else is broken? Jim Kramer. Jim Kramer predicted today would be Black Monday. NASDAQ closed higher today.
The president doesn't try to reach out and reward these countries and companies that play by the rules in the 1987 scenario, the one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday, has the most cogency. We will not have to wait out too long, will we? We'll know by Monday. Fortunately, we had an excellent set of employment numbers today. At least it makes it less likely a crash will necessarily lead to a recession. But if President Trump stays intransigent and does nothing to ameliorate the damage that I saw these last 2 days, I'm not going to be constructive here. I will contain my anger, but only because I lived through 87, and in the end, I came out okay. I was in cash for the crash. I know what this feels like. Oh, and if Europe moves against our fabulous tech companies next week, then I will be furious. That I promise you, because it should not happen.
Dude, like, I appreciate how much he's wrong. Like, there is some skill in that. Like, I don't know how he does it. It's actually really good. It's actually really good. So I'm gonna give him some credit for that one. I'm gonna definitely give him some credit for that one. What is this right here? This is 2015 Bernie Sanders in 2015. What is Bernie saying right here?
Many of the new jobs created in this country today are part-time and low-paying jobs. 30 or 40 years ago, working people who maybe had a high school degree could go out and get a job in a factory. They never got rich, wasn't a glamorous job, but you know what? They had enough wages and benefits to make it into the middle class. But since 2001, we have lost almost 60,000 factories in America. And today, when young people graduate high school, they don't have the opportunity to work in a factory, to have a union job, to make middle-class wages. The sad truth of the matter is that we are in a race to the bottom. And not only have our trade agreements cost us millions of decent-paying jobs, but they have depressed wages in this country. On September 19th, 1993, President Bill Clinton said the following. He was, of course, president pushing NAFTA in the same way that President Obama is today pushing the TPP. This is what Clinton said, and I quote, "I believe that NAFTA will create 200,000 American jobs in the first 2 years of its effect. I believe that NAFTA will create 1 million jobs in the first 5 years of its impact."
Do you see what I'm talking about with these clowns? Do you see what I'm talking about? Now, I will continue to say that Bernie Sanders is one of the biggest frauds in all of politics. And we learned that firsthand when he literally should have won the Democratic nomination in 2016. He was the front runner. He was the guy. He had all the momentum, and the DNC stole it from him. And everybody knew that they stole it from him. And he just cucked immediately to the system and to the party and to Hillary Clinton. And at that moment in time, there's no way you can support Bernie Sanders. You can't. Like, he is a coward. He showed you that he is not willing to stand up. This is what the difference, and I've said this before, but I'll repeat it again. This is where Trump is different than everybody. Because they took his presidency from him, and whereas Bernie Sanders cucked and fell in line and went to work for Hillary Clinton to get her elected, Donald Trump did not fall in line. Donald Trump did not settle. Donald Trump did not say, man, my life is going to be a hell if I continue to fight these evil people. Maybe I should just ride off into the sunset. I'm a billionaire. I have properties all over the world. I'm in the later stages of my life. Maybe I should just ride off into the sunset. Nope. Donald Trump's like, fuck you. I'm coming back, and I'm coming back even stronger, and I'm not going to give up. And guess what? They then tried to put him in jail. They tried to put him in jail multiple times. They raided Mar-a-Lago. They raided his family's bedrooms, his wife and kids' bedrooms. And he wasn't willing to let that stop him. They tried to arrest him. They tried to indict him. They tried to go after his businesses. They tried to devalue his home. And finally, when none of that worked, they tried to shoot him multiple times. And the man has stood up through all of it. And here he is today. Yet Bernie Sanders cucks immediately when they take his nomination from him. Absolute coward. Coward with a capital C. Loud and Proud says 2025 economy feels like a stealth mission in a video game. Private banks are the NPCs hoarding all of the loot, while the rest of us stuck grinding for coins in the tutorial level. 100%. 100%. Let's see. Stephen DeLeon says Tua partying with Jelly Roll kinda gay. I haven't even seen anything about that. Saren says, people should really take time off social media. I've been off since the tariff thing started, and I am unbothered. I do care, but I refuse to panic. Honestly, it's funny because privately I said this to myself. I was like, once I hit 100,000 followers on Twitter, I might just kind of back off Twitter completely because I'm sick of Twitter. Like, I'll still use it for CobraCast and news and stuff like that, but like being active on there, I don't think I'm ever going to hit it. I've been stuck at like 99,700 for like fucking 6 months, it feels like. And I keep losing followers the closer I get to 100K, and then all of a sudden I'll lose 200 followers. It's fucking weird. But I agree with the overall sentiment because social media has definitely changed our mindset and how we perceive reality. and it's not normal. So, for instance, I mean, you know, I was traveling last week because I went down to Orlando, and what's interesting is I noticed this when I went to Epic Universe. So we have a theme park channel called Park Hoppin'. If you have not, you should consider subscribing to Park Hoppin'. We do a lot of coverage over there with theme parks. I was actually in a live stream today on that channel talking about our experience with Epic Universe. But here's what's interesting. So Friday, we got to go to Epic Universe, but we were not allowed to use our phones. So this was the media day was Saturday, which we were not invited to. But we were there Friday, and we were not allowed to use our phones. Now, we could like look at our phones and everything, but we were not allowed to take pictures. We were not allowed to take video. We were not allowed to do anything like that. They were very strict on this, which I respected, okay? So we get there, and I would say there was 15, 20,000 people there, okay? And there had been a problem a couple of weeks prior with people that were invited to the parks that were filming, and the people that got them into the parks, the employees, there were hundreds of employees that got fired over this. Hundreds of employees, because the friends and family that they brought to the park broke the rules. So they got fired. Rightfully so, by the way. So there was a super strict policy on no phones at all. No pictures, no video. Do you know how much I enjoyed being there? Not only by me not being on my phone, but other people not being on their phone. It changed the whole dynamic. I'm surrounded by 10,000, 15,000 people. Nobody's on their phone. It changed everything. It was like, wow, I'm enjoying the world. I'm enjoying where we're at. I'm enjoying looking. I'm not glued to my phone looking at social media all fucking day long. I'm enjoying the moment that's right in front of me. And I was like, wow. Now, for me, for what I do for a living, it's hard for me to get off of my phone because it is what I do. But it was a wake-up call for me from that perspective. I was like, man, that really does change the dynamic of it. Really does. And I miss it. I miss it. And, you know, unfortunately, now everybody's, you know, now they've got media and everything, and everybody's running around with their fucking phones, and it's super gay, and I hate it. Red Mage for 50 says, been rewatching The Apprentice, and it's interesting seeing how Trump has always been as a person. In season 3, one of the candidates he fires gives sort of a dad talk to before they leave. Tough, respected, and giving strong advice throughout the show. This is why I've always said that if I was, the fact that The Apprentice has not been widely available up until now, there was obviously a strategic decision. The Apprentice is a fantastic show. Now, I think that the Celebrity Apprentice got even better than the Irregular Apprentice. And the reason I'll say that is you see how much these celebrities actually respected Trump. He was the biggest personality, no matter who was on that show. They all worshiped him. They all respected him, every single one of them. But I would urge everybody, if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon Prime. How many seasons are out right now? Because I haven't had time to. I'm still in season 1, going through the rewatch. But I think that there's going to put 7 seasons on there. I think it's so good. So good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Red Mage, and I urge every single body, everyone else to go check it out because it's really freaking good. Let's see. Captain Cook says, find someone who looks at you how Benny looks at Byron, giving him amazing content. Jesse MacArthur for 5 get the memberships. Stephen Leon says, wash that dirt off your face in Breeder. Jesse MacArthur says, Amy Coney Barrett is nuts. I'm thankful for our president, but I kind of feel like Theoden in Lord of the Rings. What can men do against such reckless hate? She's terrible. She is terrible. And it's just easy to admit that she was a terrible pick. As Theoden says right there. What can men do against such reckless hate? And right here, this is this picture. ACB might be Trump's biggest mistake. 100%. That's it. So here she is in her little, mask. Everybody was wearing a mask at that point in time, but it doesn't matter. She's proven to be a monumental disaster. And she seems to be working against Trump at this point in time. Sad but true. That's where we are. Let me see here. Somebody put, I got to find it. Hang on. Somebody put what panicking means. They gave like I think it was Brick Suit that dropped the reply. I know I bookmarked it if I could find it. I've got so many freaking bookmarks right now. It's kind of hard to keep up with everything. Did somebody say Jay's in the chat? Here we go right here. Panicking. A person whose entire personality is producing fear porn aimed at anything President Trump says, does, or suggests. There is a theory they read the book Chicken Little too much as a child. Examples of panicins include anyone employed by CNN, MSNBC, those who include pronouns in their bio, and especially those who said Biden was mentally fit. Everyone on The View is a panicin. To panic, but only when it revolves around Trump. Under Joe Biden, oil prices rose, but now that they're dropping and everyone on the left is a panicking. So freaking good, dude. So freaking good. That's it, man. That would be Angry Joe, by the way. That would be Angry Joe. Thank you for the 10. Appreciate that. And says nothing. Says nothing. Nothing at all. Trump has literally just invented a new word, and it's a perfect word. Some say the best word. Some say the best word. There was another clip real quick that we have to show. Right here. Here we go. Chuck Schumer in 2017, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to see him explain his decision to the thousands of steelworkers whose jobs are on the line because their companies aren't competing on a level playing field because China repeatedly subsidizes, doesn't play by the rules, and cheats. It's another classic example of the Trump administration promising one thing but doing another. President Trump has promised many times to crack down on China. And still, 10 months into his administration, his Commerce Secretary is once again needlessly delaying a preliminary step in that effort. Every time I see Secretary Ross, I've known him for 30 years, he's a New Yorker like I am. I say to him, when are we going to do something on China? Oh, we're going to do something tough. And each time there's a different excuse. This should have happened in the first 2 months of the administration. It hasn't. So, because of the Republican inaction, because of the president's unfulfilled and rapidly becoming broken promise on being tough with China, Senate Democrats will be sending a letter to President Trump and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross demanding that the administration keep its promise to crack down on China's unfair and predatory trade practices. Now, one more thing on China.
I wonder what Chuck Schumer's saying today. I know you wish, Bruce says, I wish Trump would play these clips on live TV. Trump, if you hire me, okay, I can keep up with all this shit, okay? I can feed you all of this stuff and you just post this on social media. But I gave up on that idea. There's too many clowns that get into the White House access room. I'll never get there. So, not that I've ever tried, to be fair. I've never even applied. I know people wanted me to apply. I wasn't going to apply for that shit. Too many of these MAGA influencers are super fucking gay. I want nothing to do with them. I really don't like most of them.
Today I read Tesla, our great car manufacturing company, will be relocating to China. When you want to sell cars or many other advanced products in China, you have to do one of two things. Set up a joint ownership company which lets them steal our intellectual property or face huge tariffs. That's based on the fact that the WTO was poorly negotiated and China was regarded as a developing country. That was the fault of President Bush. and President Obama neither did enough to stop China. Based on his campaign rhetoric, you'd think President Trump would be tougher as China steals our family jewels. It's no longer clothing and furniture. It's our best industries. They steal our intellectual property by these joint ventures. Sometimes they do it by cyber theft. A lot of times they do it by cyber theft. And it's hurting the good-paying jobs that might be available to our children and grandchildren.
This piece of shit. Now he's going to be all anti-Trump and making all of these lies up and everything like that, when Trump is literally doing exactly what he claims Trump should be doing. Insane. If you guys want, like, Maze puts out a lot of good stuff. Maze Moore right here. He puts out a lot of good content. So you can find a lot of his stuff over here. Like, look at this one.
I apologize.
Nobody's perfect.
I'm breaking all the rules. I'm breaking all the rules.
Well, I guess we might make some mistakes. Who knows?
I think one of the biggest problems we have in DC is that everyone's egos are too big.
I actually just prefer to have no titles at all.
You're opening yourself up.
I'm just being me. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So good. I love the memes. By the way, MCU fan wakes up from his coma, apparently, and he clips out the thing with MCU fan spokesman right here. What the hell's going on? Spokesman for MCU fan. I've seen some people question, where is MCU fan? He has taken a break from destroying this chat. During this break, you are still not allowed to call him a simp nor mention him in super chats. Jeremy will be enforcing these rules. Have a blessed night. Holy crap. I'm starting to think that spokesman for MCU fan might actually be MCU fan. I think you're trying to get one over on us.
This is not okay. It's just not.
It's not.
And we got to do better.
We got to do better. We've got to do better, MCU fan. Okay? Matter of fact, like, oh my God. I think proper context needs to be given, if I can find it. All right? You guys are going to hate me for this, but I don't care. Like, I don't care. The cringe that you're about to witness because of me, but you know the rules. If I saw it, you have to see it. Those are the rules. I don't make those rules up. Those are the rules. Kirk Herbstreit, right here. Was this Jacob Blake? Who was this? Which upstanding citizen was this one about?
Point of view, one of the most important things about social justice is the fact that players now have the courage to openly discuss it. We've come a long way. It's about time. My thoughts are, doesn't mean anything if nothing tangible comes from it. The challenge now is listening to the players and this possible discussions following reasonable requests. Listen to them and reasonable requests. That's my point.
Yeah, LC, I think that I agree with all of what you guys are saying.
Yeah, this is Jacob Blake.
It's remarkable to see players have an opportunity to come together, and that this show and Maria's given them that platform to be able to express how they feel. And I think it's great. I also think that if you're a white player in these locker rooms, I think it's incumbent upon you to really help with the change. I saw Dylan Bowles there from Stanford involved. And I think, Trevor Lawrence at Clemson has been involved. I think it's one thing to have rallies, It's one thing to skip a practice because of social injustice. It's one thing for the NBA and the NFL to miss games to make a statement. Those things are great. But my question is, what's next? What does that lead to? You go back to practice the next day. What will lead to change? And I really think, I was talking to David Shaw, the head coach at Stanford, who really, he and I had a great talk. I love listening to his wisdom and his thoughts. And he shared a quote to me and reminded me from Benjamin Franklin. He said, justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. And I think that's what I mean when I think the black community is hurting. If you've listened and the word empathy and compassion over these last 4 months, how do you listen to these stories and not feel pain and not want to help? You know what I mean? It's like,
God, it hurts. How can something so cringe exist? Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
You listen to these stories and not feel pain and not want to help. You know what I mean? It's like wearing a hoodie and putting your hands at 10 and 2. Oh God, I better look out because I'm wearing Nike gear. Like what? What are we talking about? And so you can't relate to that if you're white, but you can listen and you can try to help because this is not okay. It's just not.
It's not.
And we got to do better, man. We got to like lock arm in arm and be together in a football locker room. That stuff is gone. Those barriers are gone. And
what is going on with
we
YouTube
got to do
right
better.
now?
It's one of
What is going on with YouTube right now? It won't play.
the things and why sports can be such a leader in this area. It's happened throughout history.
Listen, I had to show you guys the full context, okay? My goodness. How pathetic is that? That has got to be one of the most pathetic things that I've ever seen. And I don't think you recover from that. There's no recovering from that. It's impossible. You cannot recover from that. Amazing. But thankfully, we've got this guy in office right here.
And I said, somebody said, well, what would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China. And you know, I said to somebody that it's really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%.
Yeah.
And
that's a leader, baby. Giga Chad right there. So Terry says MCU fan is still a simp. He also made Krista cry by being too aggressive on X. Jupiter Knight says MCU fan is like KD and has at least 4 burner accounts. Taker says, Jeremy, you forgot that Nintendo is partnering with, what is this? Klarna and a firm to provide buyers with low interest payment plans so they can afford to Switch 2 games. Bruce says Kirk has become a whiny bitch. He should join The View. Saren says, did you see ESPN snub Gina Carano? I did. I commented on that article. Flag Ninja says MCU fan still owes Krista a new hat to replace the one he broke during that awkward hug. No, you guys are never going to let that one go. And I respect it. I respect it. But in closing, right here, this is what you're going to see on X, Twitter for the next couple of days. It's going to be nonstop. We're full of experts. Everyone's a stock market expert right now. Everyone knows everything. They're so much smarter than President Trump, and their pronouns and bio give them that power, apparently. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to see a lot more of that, and everybody just needs to be prepared. It's going to be a hell of a ride. I will be back on Wednesday. Don't worry. I will be back on Wednesday. And I'll be back on Friday. So CobraCast will be, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No worries. Unless something, with like personal business comes up. But outside of that, all should be fine from that perspective. Disinfected Scientist says Herb effed a cop's wife and left Ohio when he got out. I believe it. Those that preach the loudest have the most to hide. Chad Layton says, again, I'm late to the party, LOL. But you're still here. And that's all that matters. So I really do appreciate all of you guys. I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you for all the support, the super chats, the gifted memberships, and for being the best chat on the internet. No chat is even close, and that is the bottom line. So we are live on Locals right now. I'm going to join them on Locals. I think they're watching Monday Night Raw, I think, right now. Geeks and Gamers Locals. If the mods can drop a link, I think. Yes, Raw Watch Party is happening right now. Let's see who's... oh, wow, we got a few people over here. So I got to pause this. So Krista's over there, Tommy, Beardo, X-Wing, and some Asian guy. I don't know who the Asian guy is, and I don't know who invited him. But so I'm going to go over there with them. And we're going to watch some Monday Night Raw. There is the link right there. So pinned post right there. So if you guys want to click that link, become a local supporter. We do this all the time. We're going to be watching WrestleMania. We're going to do watch parties for movies, playing video games, all of that. If you want to support us over there, that is the ground zero where we need support more than anything right there over on Locals. So thank you guys. Have a good evening. We'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.